Dear learners, welcome you all in this session of Systematics of Angiosperm. Now we will going to learn the families of monocotyledons and in which we will start from the family Zingiberaceae. Zingiberaceae, which is also known as gingiber family. As you can see, there is a image of gingiber, and turmeric is also belong to this particular family Zingiberaceae. So now moving towards the systematic position of this particular family, as we going to start the monocotyledony. Monocotyledony are those plants which have only one cotyledon in their seeds. So this is the class monocotyledony, and in this subclass Bentham Hooker classified them into series. They did not classify them into the subclasses. So monocotyledony is directly classified into the series. There will be no subclass in the monocotyledony. And this particular family is belong to the Epigyne in the monocotyledony class. So this one has the series Epigyne. That means the ovary is inferior in position and the flower is epigynous. So all the series of this particular families have a epigynous flowers and they have a inferior ovary in their flowers. So moving forward, if we compare the systematic position of Zingiberaceae, according to Bentham Hooker, as we have discussed, that it belongs to the monocotyledony and the series is Epigyne, while according to England and Pruntle, this is also placed under the monocotyledony, and here the subclass or order is Cytamini, because England and Pruntle also did not subclassify the monocotyledony class. There is the order, that is the Cytamini for this particular family, that is the Cytamini. Now moving towards the distribution of this particular family Zingiberaceae. As I have told you, Zingiberaceae, which is also commonly called as the gingiber family, these families include mostly the aromatic herbs and they are mainly present in the tropics and subtropics region of the world that are seasonally may have a dry condition, and this family is represented by around 17 genera with 115 species that reported in India. And if we see particularly in this particular region, that is the eastern hemisphere, particularly in the Indo-Malayan region, that has the particularly distribution of this particular family. And the major genre of this particular family is Alpinia, that has about 200 species, followed by Altigera, Curcuma, Globa, Zingiber, Redentalia, and so on. And among these species, India has around 115 species with 17 genera. So this is the distribution of this particular family, that is mainly in the tropics and subtropics, and particularly in the eastern hemisphere, that is the Indo-Malayan area of the worldwide. Now moving towards the vegetative character of this particular family. Members of this particular family are generally perennials that have a sympodial, that means they have a forked fleshy rhizome. Rhizome is a underground stem that we will discuss later. And the roots of this particular family is generally the adventitious root that arise from other than the radicle, and the stem is rhizome, that is tuberous in nature, and they grow horizontally. Rarely there is a aerial stem, and they have a bracted scapules or leafy and short and elongated type of stem. Then in Curcuma, the aerial stem is very short or may be absent, and in some plant they may grow up to 6 meters in height. And the few species of this particular family is either epiphytic, that is supported by the other plants and have aerial root that exposed to the humid atmosphere. As you can see, this is the particularly a plant of the Zingiberaceae family. As you can see here, they have an underground stem that is termed as the rhizome that grow horizontally, and from this rhizome you can see there is a roots which arises. This is the pseudostem which is formed by the leaf. You can see these are the sheaths of the leaves, and if you see there is an arrangement of leaf, that is the alternate. So this is a rhizome of ginger. You can see here clearly this is the underground stem. From this there is a aerial shoot which is very small in height, and there you can see there is a leaves which are alternately, or you can say there is a distichous in manner. And here is the nodal region and internodal region. This line represents the nodal region. As you can see here, these are the nodes, and in between these regions there is a internodal region. You can see here, and you can clearly see from this figure the growth of this particular stem is horizontal in manner in compared to the comb which has a vertical growth. So from the nodal region you can see there is a adventitious root which is arises, and there is a scale leaves also present on the nodal regions, and this is the aerial shoot which has particularly, generally they have a leaves, and leaves have a sheathing basis. Now moving towards the next vegetative character, that is leaves. As we have seen that leaves are distichous. As you can see here, the leaves, there is a position of leaves. These are simple type of leaves, and they also have a petiolate. Usually leaves are ligulate. This is one of the diagnostic character of this particular family, and they are generally penniparallel veined. There is a one prominent midrib, and the parallel veins run all together adjacent to this mid vein region, and in some cases there is a presence of pulvinus in case of the gingiber. As you can see here, this is a rhizome, that is a mature rhizome. This one is the young rhizome. From this there is a aerial shoot, and you can see there is a leaves, and in some time the leaves rolled up in sheathing basis, and that form up and look like a apparent like a aerial shoot or stem. So this is just a pseudo stem, as we have seen here in this particular figure, that rolled up of leaves is formed by the aerial shoot, that is termed as sometime that is the aerial stem or shoot. Now moving towards the floral characters of the family Zingiberaceae. Starting from the inflorescence. Inflorescence of this particular family is variable. They may be terminal spike or compact, as in case of Alpinia, or maybe racemose as in case of curcuma, or maybe panicle as in case of globa. So they have a variable type of inflorescence, as we can see here, the Alpinia and curcuma and the panicle. There is a variable form of inflorescence is present in this particular family. And if we see move on to the next level, that is the flower. Flower are generally bracteate, pedicellate, or sometime it may be sessile. They are complete, and they have a irregular symmetry. That means they have a zygomorphic symmetry, bisexual, epigynous, as we have discussed earlier that this family is belong to the series Epigyne, and the plants of this particular family is a epigynous flower. That means they have a inferior ovary, they have a cycling arrangement of the flower buds, and the calyx and corolla are quite distinct in this particular family, and the flowers are generally trimerous in nature, usually large in size, showy. As we can see here, they have many bright colored flowers. So they are quite showy in nature, as well as they have a aromatic, except like in costus, monocostus, dimerocostus and topionocostus. Except all these plants are aromatic, have a smell in their flowers. So this particular family, that's why they also used in the many perfumery or scent industry. Now moving towards the next floral character, that is calyx. Sepals, that is represented by 3 gymnosepals, and they are either tubular or spathe-like, generally 3-toothed and green in color, and they are superior in nature because ovary is here inferior, and in globa the calyx tube is very short or odd sepal is anterior. Now if we see the corolla is also represented by number of petals, that is 3. They are free, or sometimes they are more or less united to form a tubular or funnel shaped structure. They are generally 3-lobed, and lobes are unequal, as we can see here. linear or broad in nature, and in Roscoia, the corolla tube is long and slender with the upper lobe broad, caculate and erect, and the two lateral lobes are spreading and narrower. And the corolla tube is as longer as than the calyx tube. As we can see here, these are the calyx and corolla in these flowers. Now moving towards the stamens. There is a generally 6 stamens which arranged in 2 valves, but these stamens have a quite different types in different genera. Generally, the posterior stamens of the inner valve is fertile, as we can see here, and epipetalous and antipetalous too, as we can see these are the anthers, and the other 2 stamens of inner valves are sterile and mostly petaloid in nature. As you can see, these are the petaloid stamens which is represented here and are fused together to form the petaloid lip or labellum. As you can see, this is the labellum which is formed by the posterior stamen, which may be 2 or 3 lobed. As you can see, it has maybe 2 lobes or 3 lobes, but it is not equivalent to the labellum of the Orchidaceae family. Here labellum is formed by the staminal, which is the staminodes in this particular family, Zingiberaceae. And the anterior stamens of the outer wall is always absent, and the other 2 may be absent, as in case of Rhinellamia, or may be present as large leafy staminodes right and left of the fertile stamens, as you can see here. And in Curcuma, Roscoria and Gingiber, the 2 anther lobes are joined by a long spur connective, the spur standing above the lip in Roscoria. So the connective has a basal spurs. So here you can see the stamens in this particular family, only one fertile stamen is present. Other, they may be either staminodes or they are maybe forming a labellum, as we can see here. So there is only presence of only one fertile stamen, as we can see here. This is the fertile stamen and this is the anther. In this Hedychium, you can see this is one other fertile stem, and here is the labellum, and these are the petaloid staminodes. And if we see the next folicle, that is the Gynoecium. Gynoecium is typically a tricarpellary syncarpous, inferior and trilocular with the axial presentation, and that is mostly present in most of the genera like in Zingiber, Curcuma, Hedychium, Roscoia, Amomum. So most of the genera generally they have a tricarpellary syncarpous, inferior, trilocular with axial presentation. As you can see, this is the stigma. Stigma is generally one simple, usually slender and capitate, or sometime it may be trilobed. So here you can see this is the stigma which is a capitate in nature, but there is a one also variation in the presence of the presentation. In general, there is a presence of a axial presentation, but ovule many and suspended in each loculus. In globa, there is a ovaries only unilocular and with parietal presentation. So there is a quite variation in monocostus, ovaries bilocular with parietal presentation, and in Haplochroma, the ovaries unilocular with basal ovules, and generally ovules here, that is the anatropous or maybe semi-anatropous. So there is a quite variation in the type of presentation. Either generally they have a axial presentation, that may be, but in some cases there is a parietal presentation like in globa or maybe in the monocostus. And as you can see here, the stigma is, you can see here, so there is the presence of anther. Style is run in between the staminal tube of this particular anthers. So it is not distinct, it is run with the anther lobes. And if we see the fruits are the loculocidal capsule or that open by the 3-valve structure. And if we see the floral formula of this particular family, that has the zygomorphic symmetry, as we have seen that the flowers are irregular, they are bisexual, and the calyx, corolla both are generally 3 in number and gamosepalous and gamopetalous. Androecium is only have a one fertile, other are either they are converted into petaloid estaminode or they are maybe forming a libellum, as we can see here in this particular figure. And Ganoecium generally they are tricarpellary syncarpous with inferior ovary, but sometime it may be become bicarpellary. So this is the general floral formula of this particular family, Zingiberaceae. Now moving toward some important plants of the family, Zingiberaceae. The most common plant which we know, that is the ginger, that is botanically called as Ginger officinales. Then other plants like perfume ginger, that is the Hydaicium spicatum. Then finger root, that is the Bessenbergia rolanda. Then cardamom is also yielded from this particular family, that is botanical name is Eleutheria cardamomum. Then lesser galangal, that is the Alpinia officinarum. And then the grains of paradise, that is the Aphromomum melongota. Then the turmeric, which is also yielded by this particular family, is the Curcuma longa. So we can see here there is a lot of important plant that belong to this particular family, Zingiberaceae. So now moving towards the one plant that is the main economically important or most common plant, that is the Zingiber officinales. As we can see here, this is the whole plant of the Zingiber officinales, and you can see here this is the underground rhizome, and this one is the aerial shoot that have a leaves, and you can see leaves have a prominent sheathing bases. From these images you can see these are the sheathing bases of the leaves, and this is the inflorescence that is present, which has a bracts-like structure. And if we see the single flower, there is a one fertile stamens, there is a calyx corolla which is converted into a and modified into a tube-like structure. And you can see here there is only one stamen that is fertile, and these are the staminodes which we can see here. These are the staminodes, and it is from the libellum and the other lateral layers. So if we see the floral formula of this, and if we see the TS of ovary, it clearly shows the exile presentation with tricarpellary ovary, that is a trilocular in nature. And if we see the floral diagram of this particular plant, that is gingiber, as we can see the presence of bract and bracteole. This one is the bract and this one is the bracteole. This one is the posterior that has the only one fertile stamen. You can see here the presence of sepals and the staminodes, two posterior staminodes, and there is a presence of a libellum. This is formed by the stamens. Then there is a suppressed third stamen that present in this particular family. So there is a total number of 6 stamens. There is a one and there is a 2 staminodes, posterior one, then the anterior one. There is a libellum which is fused to form, and there is a suppressed stamen. Total number of stamens is 6, only one in which there is a fertile one, and the rest are the staminodes. They may be at the form of a staminode or forming the libellum. So these staminodes may be petaloid in nature or may be forming the libellum. So these are the petals and these are the sepals. This is the floral diagram, and you can see this Zingiber officinales, which is a on the basis of this, the name of this particular family is based, that is the Zingiberaceae, is representing the all the diagnostic character of this particular family. As we move on to the next, that is the economic importance of this particular family, and we have already discussed that this particular family have some many important plants. Now move on toward the economic importance of this particular family, Zingiberaceae. As we have discussed earlier, this particular family has a many economically important plant like commercial ginger, which is in Hindi called as adrak. It is prepared from the aromatic creeping, thick jointed branching root stalk of a Zingiber officinales. And this is that ginger, it is a type of a stem that creeps underground in which is called as a rhizome, and this ginger is used as a spice in the perfumery. Then the next is turmeric, which is also in Hindi called as haldi. It is obtained also from the rhizomes of Curcuma longa and Curcuma domestica, and it is also used as a spice, as well as it also has a many medicinal benefits which we will discuss later in this slide. Then the next, that is Eleutheria cardamom, that yield the cardamom or choti ilaichi in Hindi. It is a valuable condiment. The next one, that is the Amomum subulatum, that is the badi elaichi, that is also a valuable condiment. So you can see here many condiments like ginger, turmeric, and cardamom. These all yield from this particular family, that is the Zingiberaceae, and you will find a particular all these plants have a aromatic odor, they have a aromatic fragrance, and many of these plants are also have a medicinal importance. Like if we see the curcuma longa, it is also applied externally in the sprains and wound, and it also has a many Ayurvedic medicines. It used in many and now today it is also used in many cosmetic industry also. Next, that is the gingiber officinalis, that is ginger, and Eleutheria cardamom, both like choti ilachi. This also has a medicinal benefits as a carminative in nature, and the zeodary is also used as a tonic. And beside this, these plants may also have a, they are used in a perfumery like gingiber officinalis, Eleutheria, abir, a scented powder obtained from root stalks of Hedachium spicatum. So many of these plants also used in the perfume industry. And if it see, there is some many plants have a ornamentally grown in the gardens like Costus, Globa, Hedachium, Alpinia, Brachylium, Roscoia. These all are the plant which is cultivated as a ornamental plants in the gardens. So we can see here this particular family has a so many economic benefits, like it also has a medicinal benefits like ginger, turmeric, cardamom, zedora, and many of them also used in the cosmetics like amada, turmeric. They're used in the shampoo, and they also used as a condiments like ginger, turmeric, cardamom, amada. And beside this also these plants are also used as in traditional medicines like turmeric, adama, cardamom, cardamom. And beside all these plants, they also have a very beautiful and showing flower. That's why they are used as a garden ornamental plants. So you can see this family has a quite economic importance, and it is a part of our day-to-day life. We can daily use this plant as a condiment or maybe in the perfumery or in the cosmetics. So this is all about the economic importance of this particular family, Zingiberaceae. Now moving toward the affinities of Zingiberaceae family. This family is very closely related to the Musaceae family in habit and zygomorphic flower with inferior ovary. So this is all about the Zingiberaceae family. Next, we will study the another family, that is the Amaryldaceae, on the next day. That's all for today. Thank you all of you for joining this session. That's all.